So the average consumer makes around 35,000 decisions a day. But how many of these decisions are actually yours? In times like 2025, as the influence of the media begins to grow, we start to see that a lot of the decisions we make, especially the things we buy, aren't really our own. So to see, or if you think this applies to you, just think about the last thing you bought. Ask yourself, would you still have bought in it if you hadn't seen it online? Of course, there's different scenarios, so whether or not you would or wouldn't have, social media has basically turned into this massive marketplace. Here, products are only part of what's for sale, and what's really being marketed is a kind of lifestyle aligning with it. On social media, influencers present their homes, wardrobes, routines, their whole lives in a way that feels very effortless and enviable, making us not just want what they own, but the life they seem to live. As we scroll, those images make the suggestion that this could be you too, and that's the pull of emotional and targeted marketing. It works by tying a product to an identity, so buying it can feel like buying a version of yourself. So I used to think I was a pretty mindful consumer. I figured that I made smart decisions with my finances, and I only try to spend money on things that people would say actually needed. But there were also times where I would buy something that I never heard of a week earlier. And after maybe most of the time seeing it on TikTok or social media platforms or just hearing about it, it was suddenly all I could think about. So, for me, the Stanley H2O 30-ounce tumbler is a product example of a product trend that I personally got caught up in out of many. This isn't your typical water bottle, right? You can't necessarily turn it too horizontal because there's a straw, sometimes the cap also leaks, and this could turn into an issue when you want to put it in the side of your back pocket in your backpack. But then you also realize it doesn't fit considering its awkward shape and large handle going around the bottle. But what it does do is it comes in a lot of colors, and that's what we care about. So when this is what attracts us, the aesthetic of it, we start to realize that a lot of the things we buy may come from different motives. Even though this started blowing up, I managed to convince myself that I didn't need one, and I fought the urge to not buy one online, considering it was kind of considered overhyped at a point. And one day I was going to Target with a friend, and we only went with the intent to buy these pens because they ran out of ink. And while we were there, we noticed the aisle of Stanleys on the top shelf. And they were perfectly lined up and fully restocked, very pleasing to an average consumer. And I kind of took it as an opportunity, too convenient to pass up, so in that moment, I gave in and actually bought it in person. So after some time, I noticed how easy it was to fall into this cycle of comparison, where I'd see something online, feel the urge to buy it, maybe to the point, if it was like captivating enough, to the point where felt like I was missing out, and end up spending money in order to feel more secure or validated. Secure or validated. In a way, this causes a lot of stirring in habit buildup. You may seem to find yourself getting a habit of overspending, and it causes this cycle of maybe emotional spending and self-doubt when it comes to your purchases. This is what led me to my research at BCA. I became very interested in how sales techniques influence our ability to see products and ourselves as the consumers, and I wanted to know and understand why certain ads, advertisements, or posts are able to persuade us and how they affect the way we make decisions as the consumers. So for example, marketers know that when something feels rare, it also feels valuable. So that's when we see certain limited edition drops. We may feel pressure to act fast, not because we truly want it, but because we're afraid it might not be there tomorrow. We typically see this as the scarcity effect, and we can see this in Crumbl Cookies, the franchise's marketing strategy. So they have different lineups every week, so there's a chance that you might not see your favorite flavor for weeks or months on end. And this can encourage customers to buy more at a time. As you know, social media thrives on comparison. Think about how every post comes with likes, shares, comments, even your account has followers. These numerical metrics aren't there for no reason or by accident. It quantifies how popular or how liked something posted is. So not too long ago, we actually needed a new hairdryer, and there was a lot of attention and growth over the brand Dyson. So, especially the Air app. And with this Air app, it was almost like 9-10 times the price of a regular one, but the way it was being talked about online made it seem like, I guess, that right choice. So despite the price, we actually did end up getting it. And in doing so, I'm now able to not only curl my hair, but also, with the additional barrels that it comes with, I'm able to curl my hair both clockwise and counterclockwise, which totally justifies the $300 extra you spend, making it extremely revolutionary and life-changing, as every influencer states. So from this, we can tell that sometimes we're subconsciously consuming media with the mindset that if everyone else has it, I should too. And this is referred to social proofs, or as you may know, the fear of missing out. People typically call it FOMO. So with these concepts, marketers persuade us in two ways in summary. So first one being a central route, which is appealing to logics, facts. Sometimes they use data or reviews. And the peripheral route, which appeals to emotions and visuals. Even the slightest difference or adjustment can make a clear change in results. So studies show that how sometimes changing the color of a buy now button can even increase clicks and boost clicks up to 14.5%. And emotional ads are nearly twice as effective as rational ones, which are 31 to 16% respectively. So we can kind of see that most of the time we think we are making a smart choice, but most of the time it is a felt choice when we make purchases. We see what's popular and we buy what's popular, and we get dopamine from now owning it, or maybe the experience of opening it, or the product itself. This is a pattern kind of referred to trigger, behavior, reward, and you repeat it. And this is the trend that's referred to by Judson Brewer when we look at how habits form. We live in a world where buying something, especially online, can take seconds. We see something we like, we click a link, and it could be on your doorstep in the next 2 days or less. With data analytics, marketers know what we've liked, what we've searched, and even how long we've hovered over a post. And because ads are now hyper-targeted, we are able to kind of not really notice when we're being advertised to something. And they're really good at finding you in that right moment with these analytics. But obviously, ads aren't just this negative associated tool that marketers use to persuade us to buy something. It helps our economy a lot. It helps in terms of marketing, and it also assists small businesses to scale their whole company. So in those ways, they're extremely beneficial to our economy. But what we should do is be more mindful on how we approach social media. Because if we're caught in a vulnerable moment, ads are getting smarter every day. So if we're caught in a vulnerable moment, we might be convinced to spend money that we can't really afford to spend. What makes being mindful so difficult is that we can't always tell what's real. You know, those get ready with me videos on TikToks that are going viral, they might be a paid ad. And a caption saying, "This changed my life," could be scripted. We're constantly comparing ourselves to these edited realities. And this isn't a talk saying to never buy anything. Our generation is one of the most undoubtedly marketed to in history. So your power as a consumer is being able to act and recognize those impulse purchases. Psychological freedom begins with understanding and being aware of that influence. Because when we can tell the difference between what we truly want and what we're sold, that is when consumption becomes conscious. Thank you for your time.